Everyone, old friends and new friends. My name is Peter Chen, and I work at the Foundry. So today we're going to go through some basic sort of, thinking and principles around how to complete or how to design a lean canvas and value proposition. So I know some of the problems that we have got so far from Datacom is a lot bigger than the examples that we're about to see. But obviously, there's homework for us to do. So just a brief intro, who am I? I started my career off as a designer for the past, 13 years, if you will. Led a design team of about 10 people on an international digital agency. We do a lot of sort of branding work, style guides, website redesigns for banks, etc. But back then, it's all focused on making things perfect, making things shiny, delivering something of impact at the end of the project. And then I took a risk and started a few things like myself. And most recently is Beacon Maker. It's an app making platform that helps customers, especially businesses, create apps quickly and de-risking their sort of go-to-market timeframe. So I did that for about 3 years, and that journey is really interesting because it helped me unlearn a lot of the things that I learned as a designer in an agency land where everything has to be perfect. So there, it's more about how do we get to value quickly without sort of get too tied up on the details. So that brings me to now. So after my sort of startup stint, I consulted at Deloitte as one of their sort of, I would classify myself as almost a startup coach, working with internal business units, going through, sort of mapping out what their idea is, how do we go to market, how do we take an idea to MVP without investing so much upfront. Because a lot of times when you have too much money to spend, one thing you want to do is let's just build it. But that's not how it works to have a successful product or solution. And that brings me to Foundry. So I did all of those sort of, design. I started my career off in New York, went to Sydney for 10 years. So now I'm back home, and I joined the Foundry as an innovation design lead. And basically what I'm doing currently, again, is, still iterating on sort of, my sort of personal experience in design and running startups, how to run lean, how to think about lean, how to deliver value quick for our customers, and also for our internal customers as well. How do we think about launching projects? How do we design value propositions? How do we go to market? So design to me now is a means to an end to delivering value. So gone are the days of us fussing over, how many columns did you use on your website? Or how many columns did you use in your app? I have the background here. I have, a screenshot of, one of Airbnb's initial websites, right? It's not going to win any design awards, really, but it kept to the promise of delivering value. So let's get started on, the main topic of lean canvas. Who here has done lean canvases before? Everyone's lean canvas muscle must be quite warmed up. But for those who have it, essentially it's a sort of a quick snapshot canvas to help us capture ideas and sort of communicate what it is, who our customers are, and problem space and channels to our team or potential partners, if you will. So welcome to your new circular canvas. No, I'm kidding. It might come later though, I don't know. It's only the start, right? It's only the start of the circular journey. But let's talk about lean. What is lean? Doesn't equal lazy. At least that's what I keep telling my wife as well, because I'm currently working on a business, and often I go, I'm doing it because it's lean. Because I know you're just lazy. So we got to get it right. Lean is the elimination of waste. This includes time, processes, inventory, and more. So think about how you're going to get to MVP without adding all the bloat of processes that you don't actually need. sometimes potentially Q&A, or things around server implementation, that sort of thing that slows you down to actually test, the sort of the core idea. So coming from Ash Moria, who adapted the original business model Canvas to Lean Canvas to help, sort of more product-focused teams get an idea out, get a snapshot quickly. His goal of the Lean Canvas, is making it actionable, was capturing that which was most uncertain, or more accurately, that which was most risky. Getting all your assumptions down on a piece of paper, simply. That's why the boxes are designed so small, so you can't go write an essay in each box. Really driving on the focus, right? We want to keep it lean. So the Canvas is not a silver bullet to launching a successful product. And also, when you get started on the Canvas itself, you can iterate it all the time, and you should iterate it all the time. So it's not a Bible that you sort of just hang up on the wall and refer to it all the time. But maybe keep your first one though, so you don't know when your product's going to be successful. You can always go, hey, that's what started it. But essentially, Lean Canvas will allow us to iterate. So don't be afraid to start on the Canvas and just throw it out, 5 minutes. And also, I can guarantee you, investors do not need your Lean Canvas. So a Canvas is made up of 2 primary sections: product market. And this product market fit is the ultimate sort of goal of any product company or any solutions that you are about to sort of design. And essentially, product market fit, to explain it simply, it's around how your product gets spread through the word of mouth, and also how customers are coming back to you for more. It's a magical place if you get there with your solution. So we're all kind of familiar with this sort of layout, right, of the Lean Canvas. What we're about to go through, really doesn't change, the layout per se, but it's to do with framing our thinking for individual sections within the Canvas itself. And what about the fill-in order? Does it really matter? So there is no right order. This is coming from the creator of Lean Canvas as well. Idea generation doesn't have to start with customers and problems. The challenge is idea validation. So whatever you put on the canvas needs to be validated based on your assumptions, based on how risky initially was the assumption based upon. Is it fact? Was it a gut feeling? But what's really important for us is we have a good starting point. Right? We have our customers pitch to us their problems. So the homework for us to do individually as data compass is to consolidate and also make sense of the problem using it in a sort of almost a customer's voice. So basically what I do with problem statements often is, you sort of write it as if you're, telling the story, telling your problem to someone else. And again, everything on the canvas is a starting point. Now, let's look at adding a circular lens to how we potentially will complete a Lean Canvas. So a few key sections that needs a bit of reframing. First off, let's start with problem. So what is the underutilized resource of waste product that you are targeting? What are the business, community, and environmental issues? And things you got to consider: environment, energy use, people impact, business impact, missed revenue, missed opportunities. Customer segments. Are there markets, customers to both acquire from and ready to receive and use your solution? Or is it a completely new market? Who will potentially utilize this solution, and can they influence the use and adoption and distribution of the service in any way? Again, opportunities from this is potentially optimizing your go-to-market as well. Leverage existing networks. Key metrics. This one is interesting for circular because we need to think about problem areas identified that can be measured. For example, waste or the energy used to repurpose or recycle, whatever it is that you design into your solution. Channels, again, this requires a bit of reframing. So all the acquisition channels, distribution channels, and also the inbound, the back-end channel, after your sort of value is, after you've created a value, what channels do you, sort of have a loop back into your solution in itself? Do you have any channel partners or other services that your solutions connect with? Who can help you distribute? Who can help you collect? Are all aspects of your solution energy used, utilized, or passed into alternative channels or reused elsewhere? So think about the end of the life cycle of your product or solution, where it's going to go. Revenue, think about revenue opportunities at each stage of your process: acquisition, reprocessing, and remarketing. So based on this model, you may have to adjust how you charge for the solution. You have to factor in all the additional cost of reprocessing, remarketing, that sort of thing. So you should be able to get a pretty good sort of insight once you have these down on paper. Do you also have a flow of revenue streams as your product moves through its life cycle? Can you sell a secondary product based on what you have? So the cost structure as well is something that we should consider in a circular sense. What are the costs to acquire the waste that you seek to utilize? And what are the costs of repair, remanufacturing, or recycling? What about the energy usage for repurposing and also creating a solution? Does your process produce a new or different waste? What are the costs to maintain your solution both environmentally and financially? I know it's a lot to take in, so let's sort of go through an example that we can all get an understanding from. So spent 10 minutes, created a new product essentially. So first product idea is free for anyone in this room. Take it away if you run this business, you can. So the idea spawned from, okay, let's look at if you have multiple Airbnb properties, right? You need to get cleaning organized, things like that to prepare for your customers, that sort of thing. That process seems a bit wasteful. So I wrote a few sort of problem statements. First person view. So cleaning multiple rooms after guests takes a lot of time. Doing washing one load at a time seems wasteful, and especially when a new load is required later that day. You're juggling between different houses, different rooms that you rent out. Hey, so what about a solution? Hotel room service for Airbnb hosts. Actually, it's probably not a new idea, but bear with me for a second. Air room service. I kept this logo quite lean as well. It's just an icon of a bed and a star. Okay, so once we think about this sort of solution space, right, and all the channels and all the sort of working mechanisms of the solution itself, okay, we want to be green, so we want to use sort of used items anyway, right? It's for random people, so new doesn't matter as long as it's clean. So we want to start acquiring maybe, stuff like acquiring hotel beddings, used hotel beddings. We want to clean it and put it into rotation of the, multiple places that I manage. And also I want to prep and distribute retired beddings to someone, because I know, look, it can be used for, mechanics or bike shop, that sort of thing. That doesn't really require, a pristine sort of product to start with. That's pretty basic, right? So let's look at, we'll go one level deeper from a circular sense. When you start acquiring these beddings, second-hand or new, doesn't matter, what are the materials used? Can it be easily separated or reused or repurposed? For example, I think with cotton you can, with polycotton you can't. What about cleaning? How do you actually clean it? What do you actually use to clean it? What sort of environmental impact has it got? What about process and time? Think about that sort of thing. Managing multiple Airbnbs. Okay, so how is your sort of product and your beddings transported? Do you want to start more sort of suburb-based? You find a cleaning facility and you just start from there. And also, who could benefit from this next? Who will gain the most impact of you supplying this to next after you retire your beddings? What about the cost associated with each of the steps, each of the channel? And the cost on environment too. Now let's think about it. So to tie it back to our original sort of Circular 101, held by Fiona, it essentially is tiny circular loops within each of your processes and channels, and things that you do to create value for your customer. So that's essentially how we would potentially frame our solution from a sort of circular perspective. So understanding each of the processes and the side impacts, that it has in the world and the people around it. So let's go through sort of how we do essentially design a value proposition for our product. So value prop, generally speaking, is which benefits are you going to deliver and how you are going to be better. A lot of times people confuse value prop with features. Hey, you can use our product for this. It's not, but what happens after you use the product? Do you save on time? Do you save on cost? Those are the key value props that you need to consider presenting to your customers. So let's take Uber as an example. Uber solves a very important job for a customer, that is, take me where I want to go. Sounds very simple, right? You can get it done. You can ride a bike, you can catch a bus. It's all the same job. But what differentiates Uber from everything else? It's about understanding the customer needs and how progress is measured from a customer's perspective. For example, they will have, time restriction, location of, use as well. So these are the things, you slowly go through to understand your customers, their personas, and sort of ranking the needs and how they measure their satisfaction, and also how well the current way of doing things, is satisfactory. So again, some common things that will measure sort of how progress happens is around time, cost, and accuracy. So accuracy of delivery, it's going to save me time on having to revisit, to correct it, if you will, and obviously, the cost. To really design a good solution, we need to understand where the baseline sits. So what are some expected features or behaviors of your solution that needs to match sort of the market, right? So there's a baseline of understanding, okay, cool. Ultimately, it needs to take me somewhere, but what else can we add that adds, more value to what we're trying to deliver and how we can measure it too. So must-haves are things like, okay, I need to get somewhere, I need to take my customers somewhere. I need to make sure they arrive at the destination. Performance could be, the speed of it. It could be a faster car, it could be a slow car. I don't know. Delight is, what could be of delight, and this could be the actual differentiator at the very start of your solution as well, designing of your solution. For example, a lot of times we expect GPS to be embedded within our sort of map environment. It's a very sort of baseline use now. You got to show me where I'm at. But it probably didn't start off as a must-have. It probably started off as a delighter. So slowly, you need to understand your market and where it's going.
So adjusting to traffic would be probably a delighter from the perspective.
That's right. Yes.
So you don't have to rely on navigation of an individual, but rather
suggested. I recommend.
Could you repeat that for people online? What the question was?
So for someone from the audience that said, a new delighter for Uber could potentially be suggested, best route to avoid heavy traffic. So there's a very simple way for you to get an understanding of where your key differentiators are and your key value that you're delivering. Is through a table similar to this. So we want to detail must-haves, Okay, what do the customers expect already? Performance benefits, let me get a ride quickly, faster, save me money, make me feel safe. Or delighters, I can book without having to call. And I can see where the car is. And then you can map it against your current competitors or the current ways of how the customer is getting this same sort of job done. And you can start to rank yourself on this table. This is where you can get creative, have fun with the sort of, headlines, if you will, or value props, test with your customers, iterate. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to stick with it for years on end. And also, you're not going to, sort of score high on all the sections. And once you know your customer a bit more, understand how important it is for them to, sort of progress on this particular need, how satisfied they are, you may not even need to focus on it. So it's just a way for you to get started, get a snapshot of what you can do to get new customers. So one of the versions of Uber's website is, hey, tap the app, get a ride. And then you go on to explain how it actually delivers on that promise. So where are you going to outperform? Where are you going to out-delight? Should be the sort of core construct of your value prop. Few versions of the Uber website over time. Done this through my own projects or on startups as well. Just iterate and have fun. Test it with people, see how it goes. And depends on if it's your main acquisition channel or not. You can prioritize based on that. How much effort you want to put into this sort of thing. Thank you.
How long do you think you should take on a lean canvas? Because having done DataConf before, I think we spend just way too much time on that aspect. How much time? Because like you say, the boxes are very small, but I'll be honest with you, the amount of stuff they can fit into those boxes is phenomenal. And and the thing is, you spend too much time on the actual canvas, where you almost have to say, if it's not done in so many hours, we need to just stick to the original. Whatever. What would you suggest?
Definitely. I think general practice is actually 20 minutes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So try and do that. Just throw your ideas. It's about, hey, let's get all our ideas on the canvas and let's test if it's true. Even if that test means sense checking or a bit of Googling, right?
Yeah.
So get all your ideas on the canvas and just iterate from there. Doesn't mean it's finished. You're never going to finish the canvas, but get something done.
Go on.
I think that's the key thing with the lean canvas. It's a frame-up. It's not a strategy. It's not, it's just that you realise it's a frame-up that's a working piece of art. It's going and going. But you're right. You can, like the last one I was at, you can keep going back to it over and over again. Sometimes you get bogged in on it. At some point, you need to hit go. And that's the difference with DataConf, because you have a set timeline. You have to finish by a certain point. There's no, and it's very short. So at some point, you've got to know when to stop going back for that particular one. Maybe not so much in the business sense usually, but a set time frame like that.
That's right. And I guess the flow-on work.
Just repeat it.
So essentially, it's
How long should you spend on the lean canvas?
So the question is, how long should you spend on a lean canvas? And also, we have a reply from the audience around it's a reference point for you to refer back. Obviously, there's a lot of work that goes on afterwards. And I would add to that, for example, once you identify your customers, you potentially want to, sort of leverage that work and start on a separate piece of work, which is the persona design and validating that persona, that sort of thing. So that doesn't actually happen in the canvas, but you can refer back to it and sort of change it as well for the next iteration.
Have you used different canvases for different industries or different engagements?
For now, I've sort of just used a lean canvas. for different industries, I think you can still start from this canvas in itself. Whether it's service improvements, products, that sort of thing. Basically, it just captures how you're going to deliver value, how you're going to generate revenue, your channels. Again, really sort of quick snapshot of where you're going with your thinking. So capture your ideas.
Generally, they're just machinations of your lean canvas, right? Because you have like a mission canvas. Because sometimes when you have mission canvas, your metrics aren't necessarily revenue generating. They're more around the cause, and then what are those metrics? Yeah. I think ultimately with all of this, it's how you question that you're framing the right problem, right? So
that's right.
I think when you say 20 minutes on the lean canvas, it probably doesn't mean after 20 minutes just go and start building your solution. It's probably actually go and test your assumptions, because that's probably time better spent than arguing against each other as to what it is. It maybe the validation process becomes the voice of reason. And so that's why I think completing your lean canvas, I don't think that's a 20-minute exercise. And as you said, it's never going to be finished. But
so, just so I'm clear, what you're kind of saying is that a lean canvas is a good tool to validate your idea.
Yeah, so the question is, or not question, is a statement around, lean canvas, a tool to validate your idea. Yes, definitely yes. It's a tool to get all these sort of perspectives in the solution area, in the problem area that you're trying to solve. The customers that you're assuming that has a problem, the channels that you're assuming that could, work for you. Essentially, these are all to be tested, right? So, yeah, use it as a jump-off point.
I think quite often it's seen as the action plan, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yes.
But it's not.
There's more work to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the right questions, right?
Yeah. We're good?
That's it, I think.
Cool.
Thank you.
well, fastest one.
Thank everyone. I kept it pretty lean.
Very
So.
Is there any of the old .com link canvases around if you want to use it?
You mean the completed ones?
Yeah.
Not sure.
We can find out.
We can find out.
So that people can see.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something we're looking at around this here as well, is like collating all of those things and keeping them, checking into code repositories, all of that sort of stuff, because we can always come back to it.